Welcome to the Jerry Sinz Show, sponsored by Heil Ginseng. Heil Harvest ginseng products are 100% Wisconsin ginseng. No additives, no imposters. Just ginseng raised by us. Here's Coach Jerry Sinz. Today's Jerry Sinz Show. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, getting caught up on Edgar football. Coach, you went down to Mauston on Friday, non-conference game. Came back home with a 42-0 win. Always helps when those unique scores happen, and that was the first one you had in the first quarter on Friday. A block kick for a touchdown, and then everything just went from there. Tell us what it was like for you on the sideline on Friday night.
Well, we didn't get a particularly good kickoff, if I remember right, but we pinned him deep because I think it was hard for the guy to handle. It was over by the sideline, didn't know if he was going to take it or not, so I think we ended up getting him on about the 15, and then we pretty much held him right there. So the punter was actually standing in the end zone when he was punting, but the ball went over his head. Snap went over his head. So then he had to scramble for it. Then he tried to kick it. Obviously, by this time, the rush is there. So then it got partially blocked. And then there was a scramble for the ball. And fortunately, we recovered it about a yard from going out of the back of the end zone. And so, yeah, that was a great way to start.
You get those unique scores that kind of tough for the other team to catch up to those unique scores. I mean, everybody maybe plans on getting a rushing touchdown or a passing touchdown, but those unique scores really set you up quite well. Also, what sets you up well for the regular season are those non-conference games. We'll talk about the Auburndale game coming up here in just a bit, but two non-conference games. What did you learn out of those games, and what did you learn you need to do better here now going forward?
Well, obviously, the first game we didn't do very well in offense. We scored 3 defensive touchdowns. We've scored 5 touchdowns in defense now, or special teams in 2 games, which that's usually good for a year. You can get that many in a year. So we've been very fortunate so far. But I thought we did get the offense moving a little better. We passed a little better. We ran a little better. I suppose blocked a little better. Offense always, I think we have too many plays in at the beginning of the year is probably the problem, and then you got to start sorting them out so that your execution improves. And so I thought the offense was better. Kicking game, I think we can still improve on, even though it's been solid.
You mentioned those defensive scores. Caleb Haferman, defensive touchdown on Friday over at Mauston. Let's talk about his development and what you expect out of him and some of those other key players now as we move into game week against Auburndale on Friday.
Yeah, Caleb got moved from defensive back to middle linebacker, and he's doing a great job there, making too many tackles for my liking because he's also should be our leading rusher. But he happened to be on the first kickoff to start the second half, and Austin Miller kicked the ball really high, and I think their guy was just nervous waiting for it to come down, and he was back on about the 2 or 3 yard line, and the ball kind of hit him in the chest. Bounced off, it bounced back to about the 12, 13 yard line. Caleb coming down, scooped it right up on the run practically, and just ran it in. So, of course, like I said, that was our second defensive touchdown of the game, and that put us up 35-0, I believe it was, like 10 seconds into the second half. So we started the game that way with one, and we started the second half with one, and certainly that helped us a lot.
Coach, I mentioned Auburndale now on Friday, so it's another road game for you and the guys down in Auburndale. Coach Anderson has things going this year. He's also 2-0. He's relying on his defense more and more. Every year he's been there. They've been in the playoffs. They've won playoff games the last 2 years consecutive. So Auburndale, a team on the rise. What do you know about the Apaches beyond that?
Yeah, we watched their film, and yeah, they're executing a lot of things well. Their quarterback's playing, very well. He's a good thrower and he's a good runner. They have some fast, shifty receivers and running backs. They had a huge line the last couple of years, but almost all of those guys graduated. Now they have more normal-sized guys, but they seem, obviously to be probably better endurance, better on their feet, and stuff like that. So this is the best-looking team I've seen at them from, I'd say, 4 or 5 years maybe.
Yeah, you mentioned the size, but to make up for that, and Coach Anderson has got his guys going defensively side to side about as fast as any that you could have at this point as that team transitions now. How do you counteract a defense like that wants to beat you to the point?
Well, yeah, we're just going to have to, basically just try to block, better maybe than we've had the first couple of weeks. Stick with our assignments, find some little creases or little seams. Maybe some guys can cut back once in a while, things like that. But yeah, there's very little you can do to slow down speed on defense. That's what we kind of rely on every year. Play a lot of small guys on defense that can run and just try to overwhelm you with bodies. So yeah, they're looking pretty solid.
Lastly, Coach, a unique week of practice here as we lead up to the game. You're a day short with Labor Day yesterday, and then add into that mix school starts today, and so now you've got all kinds of other things going on. What do you do in a unique week like this to keep things as normal and possible as out here as you can on the football field and still get ready for that game on Friday?
Now, of course, when I was teaching, I was doing the same thing the kids are doing, but now that I'm retired, it's a little different for me, but yeah, the first day of school is always kind of a shaky day of practice. Over the years, it just seems to be because everybody's talking about school and about their teachers and maybe about the girls in their classes. Who knows what they're talking about? But yeah, they're a little more interested in other things. And that first couple of weeks, you had good focus, and now maybe the focus isn't quite as good for a day or two. All
right, Coach. Best of luck against Auburndale. Good luck at practice this week. Get those guys and the girlfriends straightened out.
I'll try. Thank you.
All right, guys. Jerry Sinz as we wrap up this week's Jerry Sinz show here in Edgar. Again, game time 7 p.m. down in Auburndale. Get down to Auburndale early. We expect a big crowd down there, and of course, a big week here for Auburndale football. We'll get you that score update on Friday night, and then be back here to talk to Coach Sinz about it all next week. We'll see you then.